Hi, everyone. Thank you for tuning in for our second edition of Her Data Talks. I am Jennifer, and I have my co-host with me, Danushki. And Dee, do you want to introduce our next guest?
Yeah, absolutely. So we are so excited to have the Tableau Iron Viz Champion 2020, Christian Felix. Thank you, Christian, for joining us.
Yeah, totally.
Mind you, we asked you to join us before you actually won.
True.
Yeah. I feel like we were your lucky charm or something, though. Some kind of credit.
Yeah, I mean, who knew this would be sort of like a celebratory interview call? This could have just been kind of a downer, but it is what it is. So, yeah.
Yeah. So Christian is also a Tableau ambassador and a Tableau tug leader for Tucson. So thank you so much for all that you do for DataFam, and congratulations again.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it.
I was joking with Danushki that I first connected with you about a year ago when I did, I guess that was my first Iron Viz. Yeah, that was my first Iron Viz entry.
Yeah.
And you had me talk to the, I'm going to laugh.
Yeah, say it, Jennifer.
Yeah, say it.
I cannot say Tucson. There it is. Tucson.
She came up to us and said, "Oh my gosh, I'm going to be talking at the Tuscany Tug."
You know what, Jennifer, you're not the only one. I remember Maria Brock presenting to a whole room full of Tucson Tug members, U of A students, and she referred to it as the Tucson Tug too. So we know what the reference is, and it's quite all right.
I don't know. I looked at I was standing out in like the middle of all of these desks, and they just looked at me blank, like,
what is that?
And then I got really embarrassed when I realized I said it wrong. But nonetheless, you reached out to me. I got the chance to teach or talk to your TED group, and I was just so excited. What you may have not have known at that time is you were probably one of the first people I talked to in the Tableau community, at least from outside of the Unifund group, which was kind of exciting for me. And I remember thinking, okay, maybe this isn't so intimidating. I can do this. I can talk to people. So anyways, here we are a year later, and you won. So very exciting.
Yeah, it's crazy. And I'll also say during that presentation, I mean, so it was based on your Iron Viz feeder, right? And And so a lot of people in our user group not familiar with Tableau, and they were amazed at what you did with that Elton John visualization. And so it's been over a year since you did that, and there's still some people who remember that meeting, and it's like, wow, that was really, really cool. So definitely appreciate you taking the time, especially knowing that it was sort of out of your comfort zone at the time.
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate that.
You are amazing. So, Christian.
I was hoping we'd get to hear you sing, Danushki. So is that just sort of an appetizer?
I need to record something soon.
Last time it was Celine Dion. Was that or was that Emily? I don't remember.
Yeah,
That's
that was
right.
Celine Dion.
So
I think we need to make it a Celine Dion thing that each talk.
That was
Celine Dion.
Okay, let's take off this topic of me singing, because that's not So diving in, Christian, we're so excited to get to pick your brain and ask you all the questions. So what motivated you to even take part in this feeder? Apart from Jennifer's talk at the tug, of course, but
Yeah, so I think, I mean, once you get involved a little bit in the Tableau community, you come to see Iron Viz as sort of a something that you almost have to do, sort of like a rite of passage. And it was just a bucket list thing for me. So at the beginning of the year, after having been involved in the community, certain projects for about a year and not submitted to the feeder competition the year before, I was like, okay, this year I have to, especially since there's only one. So yeah, at the beginning of the year, I kind of had it as a goal to do. There were members of the community throughout the year sort of encouraging me to do it. I remember in July, we had a Tucson tug that was virtual, of course, because all of them were. And Sarah Bartlett presented just on her Iron Viz experience. And so that was July. So I think the deadline was August 4th to submit to the feeder. And it was late July. And I hadn't even started yet. Like I had wanted to, but work was busy. We had moved about a month before. So we were still kind of getting situated. So life was, really busy on top of everything else. And so she really encouraged me and the entire group, even if you haven't devoted like a month to developing and designing your entry, there's still time. And so, yeah, that was encouraging. So I really it was really like a last weekend thing for me to put it together, submit it, and get it before the August 4th deadline. So, so yeah, that was kind of the backstory to actually getting it in.
That's incredible that you did it in such rapid speed too. Wow.
Yeah, and like the weird thing about it was it wasn't what I had intended or set out to submit on. Like I had this whole concept. I even reached out to Addie McRae because I know she's excellent at mapping in Tableau. I had this whole concept of sort of the correlation between mental health and urban green space, because I don't know if you caught it in the IronViz intro video, but we have community gardens and orchards in our neighborhood. So during this whole process, it's been amazing to me to take advantage of those, just to get outdoors and be in nature a little bit and not be cooped up all the time. And as I got into it, I found out like that's a thing. Like cities who actually have more green space, actually their people flourish more so than others. So I wanted to do that, but totally pivoted last minute and changed topics. So it was really a last minute thing. I ended up taking a couple of days off work just to get it in.
Oh, wow.
But so glad I did, obviously.
Yeah. And that's so awesome how like my design, I can have this idea, but then once you get into it, it just kind of takes hold and this whole other story comes out. So really awesome how that happened. So how did you feel when you found out that you were placing as top 3?
It's hard to describe. I would say like unbelievable is obviously a word that comes to mind. So they send you an email just to make sure that you're aware prior to the announcement. So so I got that email and I reread it and I had my wife read it. I was like, oh my gosh, make sure you're reading this how I'm reading it, because how I'm reading it makes it sound like I've actually won, you know? And it was so hard to believe, like, especially considering all of the other entrants. And I'm not going to name names or business, but so many of them could have easily taken my spot in the top 3. And so it's just this mixture of disbelief and gratitude and humility. And just like, I remember in this office, like reading it, having my wife reread it, and then just like celebrating, just like, yes, this is awesome. So yeah.
So definitely time for happy dance, I'm sure.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Okay, so can you talk us through the prep? Like, since you got the data, how long did you have with the data, and what was your process like?
So in general, at a high level, it was the most stressful, like exhausting process ever, you know, because you think of what you're building up to and all of the constraints and pressure that comes with it. And I don't know how it relates to prior years, but I know this year it really seemed condensed and packed in. And so just to let the cat out of the bag, the build was pre-recorded. So we had a deadline of September 21st to get the build done. So the announcement of who qualified was September 4th. We got the data September 5th, and we had to have the final thing done on the 21st.
What?
And so that's like 15 days.
Oh my gosh.
And this was totally like 3 months ago. We had planned a family vacation, September 11th through the 14th. And Jennifer, I mean, you have kids, and if you don't know now, you'll find out, like, it's really hard to back out of like a vacation like that you've committed to with your kids. And so I definitely thought about it. We talked about it, and we're like, oh, we committed to this. We just got to keep it on the books, because we had some other families who we were going with. And so this was off the grid. There was no Wi-Fi. There was no cell service even. And it was by Sedona, Arizona. So we did that. So I was gone for like 4 days out of it. So I remember prior to leaving on that vacation, so like the 10th or the 11th, I had a really good concept of what I wanted to do. And so even stepping back further than that. So we're at the 10th or 11th, going back to like the 6th, 7th, and 8th of September after I got the data. it was horribly dirty, like disgustingly dirty. Like I remember sending Simon and Alex just DMs and chats on WhatsApp just saying, do you recognize the name of this city? Because there's all these weird special characters in it. And so there was things that didn't even look like a real language embedded in the data, but it just required a bunch of cleaning. So I spent probably the good first 3 days or so just in Tableau prep, learning the tool, first of all, because I'd never really used it.
Yeah.
And then cleaning data. And Simon was so good during this process. I remember texting him. I was like, we're like 3 days in. I haven't even opened Tableau really. I'm just trying to get my head around this data and clean it. Am I behind? And he's like, no, you're good. I've been doing the same thing. So super gracious about like not adding additional pressure or anything. So yeah, I spent the first few days just in prep, had a concept going into that vacation. And honestly, sometimes, I don't know if you guys are like this, but like there's like an inspirational and like a creativity generating aspect of just stepping away from things sometimes. And so you're away from your computer, you're in nature, or you just sort of, you step away and then like some things percolate, you get ideas. And that's sort of what happened. So I came back from that vacation all excited. Like the next day, I took that day off work. I've taken a lot of time off work. But that day, it was the 15th of September, so we're less than a week out of when the 20-minute session.
You're really stressing me out, by the way.
Yeah, no, yeah. So that day was probably the most frustrating day in Tableau I can remember, because I had this brilliant idea. I tried to execute it. Took me all day to do, and I got to the end of the day and I was like, this is way too complex. Like, I'm having a hard time even explaining this to my supervisor. How am I going to explain this to people who are just seeing it for the first time, after 20 minutes? And so yeah, I had to completely pivot. It was like a wasted day and super discouraging that late in the process. So 16th, 17th, 18th, I pivoted, simplified radically, I would say, the story and the design. And then you spend the last few days, including the day of, in my situation, practicing, making sure you can get it under 20 minutes, which left no time for like the 3-minute like presentation. So that was pretty much like off the cuff. But yeah, so it was a whirlwind and super stressful, super exhausting, but obviously unbelievable and worth it.
Wow, that's amazing. And just thinking about just being able to step away, I feel like most of my inspiration comes from, I'm driving in the car, I'm thinking about the day.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
I got all these ideas, and so I'm just
You're in the shower, you're singing in the shower. You're doing something
and then I gotta
unrelated.
tell somebody, I've got to unload. I'm like calling Danushki. I'm like, I'm picking up the boys, but I gotta write this down. Somebody.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome though.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. So I've been to, a conference in person and, seen them on stage, literally like sweating, and I'm sweating and everyone else is sweating and, but
I know. Yeah.
Yeah, this time was definitely a different experience because it was all virtual. How was that for you? How was that for you?
There were pros and cons, I would say. I mean, I relate to what you're describing, Danushki. Like I've been to conference, I've seen that thing. I've seen the stress and the intensity of it. And I think we all got to see it up close and personal because our faces were a lot closer to the camera this year. So I rewatched it, and as I was watching like my face, Simon's face, and Alex's face, I was like, gosh, we look like stressed out. Like our eyes are all big and we're like rapid eye movement. We're trying to track all of the different drags and drops and everything. So yeah, the stress was still there. And so that was definitely intact, although you're not doing it in front of all those people. So nothing to complain about there. But sort of the benefit of it, I would say, is we were still able to enjoy the conference, right? So the pressure of having that sort of on our shoulders throughout the days of keynotes, devs on stage, brain dates was gone. So it really freed us up. Now, I mean, we didn't know who was going to win, so that uncertainty was definitely still there. But the pressure of having to do something like that in 20 minutes was gone. So that was pretty cool.
Could you hear the commentary going on around you? Like, could you hear your supervisor talk and Andy and Keisha talk?
No. So
Okay.
that was, I'm glad they did it that way. And that was, I guess, another thing where it was kind of cool, because typically in conference, you have all those distractions, right? Where not only do you have the people cheering, but you have the judges, the supervisors talking, and you got to kind of tunnel vision, zone all that out. So it was definitely a different experience. Yeah. So.
Nice.
Yeah, I cannot even imagine. I would have been like, all this noise, everybody talking, or they're looking at what I'm doing. Oh my gosh, am I moving fast enough? Where's the clock?
Yeah.
That's awesome. Absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
Are we ready for our rapid fire questions, Danishki?
Yeah.
Are you ready? We've
Oh my gosh. Rapid fire.
Part,
Yes.
little stress, no stress.
Okay.
We've talked about, like, we want to put like a timer on this, but we're not going to. So
That'd be cool.
Yeah, like, okay, 30 seconds, the first thing that comes to mind. I just don't know. I don't want
I could take,
stress people out.
What?
What'd you say?
I could take like beep, beep. No,
Beep,
that's not
beep.
it.
All right, you ready?
Yeah.
All right, here we go. So what is your dream job?
Gosh, I mean, to a certain extent, I think I have it. I know it sounds kind of like a cop-out, but I get to work with Tableau every day. I work with great people. I get to work with Alteryx. I have access to Tableau Prep now, which is cool. So I got all these sort of tools. I'm like a kid in a candy shop. I love doing what I do. I have tons of flexibility. I work for a company who does great things in terms of their mission and what they bring to the market. So I think to a certain extent, it gives me the flexibility also to be involved in the user group and be involved in the community, which I love doing. So yeah.
Your employer loves that answer, I'm sure.
Yeah, and not a lot of people can say that, so nice.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So who in the Tableau community has inspired you the most?
Gosh. That's a tough one.
Can't say a lot of people.
I think, so I've been using Tableau for a while, and early on, I think a lot of the common names that you'd hear people bring up, certainly Andy Kriebel, Joe Mako, Ava, Steve Wexler, seeing what they did with Tableau and how they contributed to the community was definitely inspiring and made me want to push further, learn new things, develop my skill set, and grow with the tool. Recently, and this was based out of conversations at this conference with people. I'd say people like you, Jennifer. So you're a mom, you're working, you're involved in the community. Like Karen Hinson, moms who are out there like doing 3 jobs at once and still contributing, like that's inspirational, because like compared to that, I got it kind of easy to a certain extent. I'm working, I'm helping out, of course, where I can, but not juggling all those different things. So it would be awesome, and I would certainly happily hand over the Iron Fist trophy next year if there was a woman to take a working mom to take over that and win the competition. So that would be totally inspirational. And yeah, so
I think that was the perfect
Jennifer,
answer. We're done
Jennifer,
here.
yeah, yeah.
Oh, thank you. That is so humbling. I don't even know. I think we're done. I'm kidding. So what is your favorite Tableau tip? If you had one. There's so many great ones out there. And if you watch the speed tipping, oh my gosh, my mind was blown.
Yeah, I mean, I watched that conference last year, Jeff's and Luke's on the last day of the conference. That was amazing. There's so many. Like, can I just say what works in the moment? You know, like I don't know how to pick one, but there's so many tips and tricks that can make you more efficient in Tableau. Yeah, that's a horrible answer, but I don't know.
We'll let you have that one. That is, random round here. So
yeah.
So if you could go any place in the world, where would it be?
Yes. So I work for a Swiss-German company. I want to go to Switzerland. I was there after college and did the backpacking thing, staying in hostels and things like that. Absolutely loved it. It was just like completely beautiful and amazing. Just beauty that's hard to describe in words. And I want to go back there. I've sort of dreamt of doing that, trying to figure out a way to get back there on work travel with my wife and maybe even kids. And I think it could have happened this year before all the COVID stuff, but that sort of
kind of kills it a little
shut
bit.
that dream down.
I've actually
Maybe 2021.
And it's so incredibly beautiful. But I think my most favorite and the most beautiful part that I couldn't even imagine was the cheese factory.
So have you been there, Danushki?
Yeah, to the Gruyere cheese factory.
Oh.
Oh my gosh, I was literally in heaven.
I couldn't tell if you were kidding or not. I was like, what?
So we went on, I remember this bike ride like vividly, and people from that part of the world probably would correct me if they hear this, but I think it was called Lauterbrunnen or Grindelwald, that valley, and you have these waterfalls coming over cliffs, and you're riding a bike through just meadows, just cliff sides, and on top of the cliffs you have more meadows. It's amazing. So I'd love to go back there, do that again, and do some more exploring.
Yeah. Gosh, I just can't wait till our boys are old enough that I can go somewhere. I don't know where, but just somewhere.
Yeah.
Right,
I mean, go ahead.
I'm sorry. But yeah, do you have any other questions, Danushki?
Yeah, so before we let you go, Christian, last question. Now that you have this, reigning title of the Iron Fist champion, what do you hope to do with it?
I've just been so surprised at like the reach of Tableau and Iron Viz over these last few days. Like, I try not to pay attention to it, but things like Twitter followers have just gone like exponential over the last couple of days, and it's crazy. Like,
you're famous.
I know it's ridiculous.
I'm sure that's got to feel weird. I'm sure like
it does.
This week, if I could only even like try and grasp a fraction of it, it's probably a whirlwind, and you're gonna wake up somewhere next week, a week after that, and it's gonna hit you like, ugh, that just happened.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think one benefit of getting older is you kind of think less about yourself, and you try and pour into other people, whether it's your kids or people that are sort of following your footsteps in your career path. And so I think of things like the user group, for example. It's just an opportunity for me to help other people along their journey. And we've partnered with the University of Arizona Tableau user group. And so having an opportunity to work with students there and people who are just getting their hands in the tool, and just seeing them have those aha moments that, oh my gosh, I can do this, where I couldn't before, is something that for me is so cool. And I think just having won this competition just gives me a bit of more of a platform to continue to do those things that I already enjoyed doing and wanted to do. So yeah, that's really all I thought of at this point.
Aww. Amazing. We can't love that answer anymore either. Perfect answers all around. No, but I feel like that resonates with us, Christian, because I think you've obviously checked out her data. You understand possibly a little bit behind our mission and our purpose. We really want to do the same thing. We want to help people along. We want to make sure we can balance the scale and show women that you can do it too, right? If you have a dad like Danushki or not, then you can do it. I'm a true believer, regardless of circumstance. I'm in the right place for the right reason. Regardless of what got me here, if it was the right people motivating me, pushing me, or it was the people that I didn't have to motivate me or push me, I landed where I am and feel like I'm in the right place. So that's awesome.
Totally.
We really appreciate Christian, you coming on and talking to us. Enjoy your trip. Much needed and much deserved.
Yeah, I will. It'll be fun.
Before you go, can you put the ball in the hoop behind you? Because we'd love to see.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, I've tried this a couple times. I've never made it. If I make it this time.
If you make it this time, it's meant to be.
It's going to be crazy.
All right, ready?
Here we go.
Oh my gosh, you made it. I'm kidding.
All right, Christian, thank you so much again.
Yeah, totally. It was fun.
Yeah.
Have a good day.
All right, cheers.
Okay, cheers.
Thank you.